Hello there, it's Sunday, and welcome to my series on dealing with absolute BS attacks in chess. And believe me, as you make your way through the amateur world, you're going to have to deal with all kinds of stuff that is thrown at you. This will involve early queen moves, people neglecting development, people trying to target your weak f7 pawn, so on and so forth. Dealing with stuff like this can be actually much harder than it looks. If you do all the things you're taught, which is develop your pieces, control the center, blah, blah, there is a good chance you can actually give your opponent a winning position. Instead, you need to employ key ideas in key situations where you put your opponent under a lot of pressure. And so in this video, we're going to deal with this very common position in the Lichess database, which has been seen over 350,000 times. And it goes like this: e4, e5, bishop c4, the bishop's opening. There's nothing wrong with that. Top players will play this. Knight f6. But what top players won't do is they play this move queen f3. But this is very common at the amateur level. And strictly speaking, it's not losing. I believe black has a very slight advantage. Stockfish could hold this entire position together. And here you can see in the Lichess database, many people play this move knight c6. Okay, that's not losing, but it just doesn't put white under pressure. Instead, the top engine move here is c6. And the idea of c6 is to play d5. Why is that so important? It's because white has knights stuck here on the back rank. And instead of developing knights, white developed the queen and bishop, and so neglected the control over these four central squares. And so we now have time to try and take over the center. So we have c6, and you can see here in the Lichess database, they play this move d3, that's the top move. We'll go through some other moves as well. We play d5. And they'll take, we take, the bishop is hanging. If they play bishop b5 check, it's already about -2, -2.5 on the engine, knight c6. And the reason is that this bishop has been taken off this diagonal, and the attack is pretty much over, and it's going to be down to your chess to try and convert this position. There are also other threats here like d4 and bishop b4, potentially trapping a knight one day. So instead, in this position, they'll play this move b3, bishop b3. And here we play knight c6 anyway. They're going to play bishop g5. That's the top move here in the Lichess database. They don't know anything else. Pin a knight, create complications, blah, blah. And here there are many moves that put white under pressure. One try is queen a5 check. And this bishop really needs to go back. But you can see here people, they try this move c3. But now you can go ahead and play knight d4. It's a key thing in these type of openings is to keep putting your opponent under pressure. They made these early queen moves. Now we're going to put them under pressure. We're going to attack this queen. And here, the queen and bishop is forked. The pawn cannot take because of the absolute pin. So it's very easy to blunder here in this position. If the queen just moves out of the way, we take. And that bishop was not adequately defended. The rook is hanging. Okay, so the only defense in this position is to play this move queen d1. We're going to take anyway. Knight takes b3. Queen takes b3, the only move. Queen a6. Attack the pawn. Again, keep with the idea of putting your opponent under pressure. And here, the way they are going to defend that pawn is by playing bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen takes d5, pinching a pawn in the process. But it doesn't matter, they're completely losing. Bishop e6, the queen is hanging, queen e4, defend this pawn, long castle, stop engine move. And now, this pawn on d3 is double attack, so they play this move c4. But we play rook d4, and I can tell you in this position it's about -5 on the engine. And the problem for white is that white is so far behind in development. The white king is stuck in the center. Black has the bishop pair. Black even has an open file to try and exploit. And it's going to be down to your chess to try and convert this position. So this d3 move here after c6, this d3 move here leads to a very promising position after d5 takes, the bishop retreats, and you're going to get a comfortable position after this. They could try and be smart. So in this position, they could try this move knight c3, where they are basically saying, I'm taking control over the d5 square. And so they have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers of the d5 square, and so they're preventing you from playing d5. And here the top engine move is not to play d5, but amazingly, you can play d5 anyway. If you play d5 now, okay, it's not the top move. Stockfish gives a completely dead equal evaluation. So it's very close to 0 here. If you download and let it calculate, what they're going to do is they play this move e takes d5, and now the key move is e4, the queen is hanging. And you can see here in the lead chess database that 75% of players, 3 out of 4 players, they play this move, knight takes e4. And that's losing to queen e7. This knight is pinned. It's also double attacked. And how you're going to deal with this, they play this move d3, but we just take here. And now in the next move, we're going to take the knight. If they try to take with the bishop, obviously we just grab the bishop. If they deliver some check, bishop b5 check, let's say knight c6, another nonsense check, b takes c6. Okay, next move, we're going to take the knight. There is a way in which white can create complications here, which is just to play the move d takes c6. That's a way for them to be resourceful. Because now after knight takes e4, they can play this move, bishop takes f7, queen takes f7, queen takes e4, queen e7, queen trade happens, the queen was pinned, queen takes queen, bishop takes e7, and now c takes b7, bishop takes b7. And in this position, actually, white is +1 in material, but black is completely winning. White has all these extra pawns, but black has the extra piece. Black does have the bishop pair. This is by no means trivial. It's about -2, -3 on the engine. It's going to be down to your chess. Okay, we can't just memorize lines. We actually have to play good chess and win. But this is winning for black. You might be wondering in this position, why not queen takes e4? That leads to a dead equal position because after queen takes e4, knight takes e4, white has this resource, bishop d5, and now we have knight c5, the knight was hanging, and we have c takes b7, bishop takes b7, bishop takes b7, knight takes b7, and in this position, it's very close to equal. I believe black is slightly better. The difference here with this position and the last position is that black doesn't have the bishop pair, and so it's much more difficult for black to try and convert this position. So not the best idea in the world after d takes c6 to take with the queen. You've got to take with the knight. That's a key move. And so this is something to try in your games. When you get to this position, remember the key move here is c6 followed by d5. And that will create complications and pressure for your opponent to deal with. And people making these kind of early queen moves, playing these dubious openings, I think are going to find it difficult to be resourceful. And they're going to blunder, and hopefully you're going to get into winning positions. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any comments on it, do leave them below. Thank you very much for your time.